Welcome to our webinar on SAMPaths. I'm so glad you could join us today as we talk about SAMPaths. My name is Rachelle Hall, and I've been using SAMPaths as a standardized practice at Glendale Community College in Glendale, Arizona since 2014. So let's go ahead and get started and review our agenda. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to first define our SAMPath and talk in detail as to exactly what a SAMPath is. We're going to be covering the value of SAMPaths and what that provides for both students and instructors, the importance our campus has put on SAMPaths and how and why we continue to use them, and then we're going to share how to set up a SAMPath assignment, and then we're going to view the student experience and how they traverse through the paths. And finally, what you should share with fellow instructors regarding SAMPaths. So let's go ahead and dig in. So what is a SAMPath? First and foremost, it is a self-defined path that you can create so your students can determine their level of knowledge either prior to or after an instruction on a specific topic or module. It gives the student the opportunity to test their knowledge, complete detailed training on any areas requiring reinforcement, and then also test them again, providing them the opportunity to show they have mastered that content. There are 3 different SAMPath options available for you to select from as you're setting these up. You can do the exam, training, exam, the training and exam, or the exam and training. We'll cover that in just a minute when we walk through the demo of creating a SAMPath. Now, talking about some student advantages, there's so many advantages to SAMPaths, and these are just the ones that we've recognized on our campuses. Students can actually complete the pre-exam and discover where they are in their knowledge on a particular module or the entire application. Sometimes students feel that because they are familiar with an application, they have nothing left to learn. I know we've all had those students. However, after they complete a pre-exam or a training, they're really surprised about how much they really didn't know about that particular application. So it becomes a good learning opportunity there for our students. After completing the first part of the path, the student now knows what they need to do and they can go and get the reinforcement that they need. We also have students who are very familiar with the topic at hand and they do very well on their SAMPaths without the need for further emphasis. With SAMPaths, they can determine their mastery of the concept and then move on because SAMPaths actually create an individualized learning plan for each student. Now, as an instructor, I know we love that. So let's move on to the instructor advantages. They have provided me with so much information for my students. Once the student has completed the pre-test or training, it gives you a sense of where the class is on the respective module or topic. I use this information personally for gauging my follow-up instruction prior to them completing the final or post-exam over that said area. Again, I mentioned the individualized learning path for the student. Because SAMPaths can create a plan for the student, it gives you the information you need to deliver the proper reinforced content and also allows for those who have mastered the skill to move on if they so choose. The post-exam can actually serve as the final testing for that particular module or topic, or it can be another reinforcement tool for the students. Either way, it provides great information for the instructor. Now, as far as the content that is included in the post-exam and content that is included in the training, that is something that you can determine. You can determine on what the student is going to see after they take their pre-test, their training, and their post-test. And we're going to talk about more detail on those actual topics in just a little bit. So why do I use SAMPaths? Well, my personal experience with SAMPaths date back to the fall semester of 2014. Our students were consistently performing under par in a few areas of Excel and Access especially. We had already added more time to our labs when covering these topics, as well as more content to review. We even delivered exercises that some instructors created for reinforcement manually. However, they still were not performing at a satisfactory level. So we implemented a SAMPath for both Excel and Access that included as many tasks as possible addressing those particular areas. We first ran a pilot offering extra credit to the students who completed the paths in just a few of the sections. The student results for these students who took the SAM paths were that they scored 26% higher on their Excel and Access exams, and the tasks that historically had been missed in the past were also answered correctly. After seeing these results, we decided to add these SAM paths to all of the sections, and we saw a 17% overall increase in the exam scores as a college. With that result, we took it even further and decided to implement SAM paths for all of our modules. After we did that, our final exam score average went up to 13% higher in the first semester and an increase of 15% higher in the second semester. And basically, we haven't looked back since. We implement it in every section for this course, and our students actually do like the fact that they can go in, take the test, see where they're at, and get the reinforcement in the training. It's been a very positive experience all the way around. Now, setting up a SAM path is very, very simple. We, particularly on this campus, we use the illustrated series, and it is kind of a cookie cutter because we have a custom text. So we have a lot of content, but it all comes from the illustrated series. And this is just for the lab component of our course. The course on our campus averages around 65 sections a semester with a student count of around 1,500. So we create SAM paths for all the modules covered in the course, and then we bundle the applications together. And we set ours up as an exam, a training, and an exam. Now this exam is not the comprehensive exam that we administer for every application. This is the SAM paths that we set up are module based, and so it may include 2 or 3 modules within one SAM path. And then when the student completes that entire application, so they've done all the work, for example, in Word, then we will have a comprehensive exam in Word for that particular, for the particular application, again, going across all of the applications that we cover. We do not use the scores that the students achieved on their SAM paths as the score for their assignment. We give them points based on whether they completed the entire path. Again, we want this to be a learning experience where the student is engaged within the application and going through and seeing exactly where it is that they need to be reinforced or that they need further training. So that's kind of how we do it here. So let's talk about setting up the actual SAM path. So the first thing you need to do is create an exam that's going to serve as your pre-test or your post-test if you're doing training and then testing. At the same time, you create a training that accompanies that pre-test, and then you schedule the path. So let's take a look at a demo on how we can actually set up a SAM path. So I'm logged in here as an instructor in my SAM section. I'm going to go ahead and click on SAM assignments, and you can see here that I do have one SAM demo path set up here. But we're going to create a new one so you can see how the entire process works. From here, we're going to go into exams because you first have to create the exam before you can schedule the SAM path. Kind of a 2-step process there. So I want to add an exam, and we're going to call this the SAM path webinar. I don't like to put spaces in my title name, so you have to excuse me on that one. And we're going to go into 2016 because that's where we're going. Now, auto-generate training. This will automatically generate the training that will serve as your WebPath seminar exam in this particular path. It automatically names it. It's done at the same time. Again, 1-step process. We'll move to the next step. And now we need to include what area do we really want to work with here. Now this particular one includes all of my text information that I have. I won't scroll too much, I know it makes you kind of dizzy. Now we can also just say make all SAM tasks available if we do not want to base it specifically on a particular module. So I'm going to go ahead and click Word Module 4 here. We're going to do some formatting of documents. And then I'm going to scroll down here and go to my next step. Just so you know, all this information is in here because when you create your section, of course, you always add your text at that time. So that's where that information was coming from. It was based on what I had created as a section and what I included as my text for that particular section. Okay, so there are 25 particular tasks that are associated with this particular module in the illustrated series. Now you can go through and maybe deselect some, or you can keep them all in there. You can do whatever you want here. This is where you get to pick and choose what you want to include in the SAM path. I'll just go ahead and leave all of them on there for right now. And you can also see that you have test bank questions available here as well. And you can add those. We strictly keep ours at a task base, but you can use text bank questions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next step, which is saving it. Now, I have the option that I can actually schedule the exam now, but I'm going to bypass that because I want to kind of show you the full screens. If I go into schedule now, we just see a half screen of this, and I want to be able to show you the full screen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit done. So now my exam is created right here, SAM Path webinar. Now, if I go back into my assignments, I can show you the training is there as well if you want. I should probably do that too. So you see that the training was created at the same time. So let's go to assignments, and I'm going to schedule a new assignment. And I want to schedule a SAM path. I'm going to go ahead and select my version. And if I had multiple options here, say I had one for Excel, Access, etc., those would all be here. But I just selected Word for this particular example. So right here is the 2 exams that are eligible to be used as a SAM path. I've already created one with that one, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to create the SAM path webinar, and I go to the next step. And then this is where you do all of your settings. See here, you got your exam, training exam, or you can just do the training exam. Notice how my options change here. And then I can also do exam training. So I'm going to go back to this one because it's the biggest one. We're going to cover the most information here. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. It'll take the default name. I'll just put in SAM Path here and add that to it. Now here's where you get to make your selections. So you can do display training and post-exam only for the incorrect tasks. Now this is personally how we do it on our campus. So what that means is there were 25 tasks that I selected for this particular example. Now, if the student missed 5 of those tasks on the pre-exam, then their training would only encompass those 5 that they missed, and then along with the post-exam is only going to include the 5 that they missed. Now, you can also set it up for display training only for incorrect tasks. In the pre-exam, post-exam contains all tasks. So this is where you might be using that post-exam for maybe a final exam on that content area, or maybe you just do content area quizzes, that type of thing. So you could set it up there, and then you don't have to worry about going in and the students actually going through and taking an additional exam. And then you can also set it up where it displays all of the tasks in the pre-exam, the training, and the post-exam. So if that's what we would do for this one, again, I chose 25 tasks, so they would go through and do all of the pre-tests, but then they would also have to do all 25 of the the training, excuse me, and also on the post-exam. So even if they did get it correctly, they're still going to have to go through the training on that. This is completely changeable. It's up to you, however you want to see that and whatever works best for your particular campus. Now, as the students go through, they're going to see, I'm going to show you the student view here in just a minute. But when they see a SAM exam, what they see is the SAM path, my apologies. And then they're going to see the pre-test, the training, and the post-test, as this is what I have set up for this particular path. However, they cannot access the training or the post-test until the pre-test is completed. So what you can do is you can type in your instructions for your pre-test. Okay, you can set your time limits, display results at the end of the exam, randomize the task. These are all options that you can always display. You can choose your scenarios here. We got scenario 1. I'm just going to keep it on the default. And then here's all your different options here. You can set up restrictive mode or not. This is our default, and we pretty much keep it here on the training, or excuse me, on our campus here. And then you move to the training aspect, where you're going to complete any items that may have been missed. Missed tasks. You know, you always type words when people are watching, right? And then you can also choose to have the training start in apply mode if you wish. Again, these are individual settings that can always be changed. And I think you get the idea on the post-exam. This is the instructions that you would put in for the post-exam. Now on the scoring and delivery options, again, you can do a pass-failed. See, these are all the same things that you've seen before when scheduling a SAM exam. Displaying them, randomizing, however you want to do. And again, you can change the scenario because, and they've already seen what it looks like in scenario 1. So we usually change the scenario to scenario 2 for the post-exam so that they're getting something a little bit different. Okay, and again, all the same settings you can set up here. I'm going to go scroll back up to the top, and I've already selected my section because I want it to be in the SAM demo section. It's the only section I have right now in this particular login. You can do all the dates, times, if they need a password, I'm going to take that off, and the reports and so forth. So you can again set up all those individual things. Now, you've done everything. Your SAM path is done. It's set up and you're finished. You've set up all the information for the exam, the training, and the post-test all in one screen. Now, I will give you a real quick view here on what it looks like in student view. So I'm going to go ahead and select student view. I'm going to go to the activity list because I didn't actually put an assignment due date on it, so it won't show up on the calendar. You can see here how they show up for the student. They see the pre-exam, the training, and the post-exam. Same thing down here. However, you can click all day on this training and the post-exam. It's not going to let you in because, as you can see here, it's not available until after pre-exam, not available until after training. So then when the student logs into one of these or just tries to begin one, of course, they're going to get all their information here. I'm just going to quickly pull this up for you. Move it over so you can see it. And it'll go through, and you can see here how I have all those 25 tasks that we selected, okay? And then the student can begin to proceed through, and it looks as though that they're actually taking an exam, because this again is the pre-exam. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one. Okay, now I'm logged in as the student, so we can see this from the student view. So I'm going to go into my activity list. And you can see here again how the student cannot gain access to the path, the training, excuse me, or the post-exam because those aren't available until after the pre-exam. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my, I'll cancel this just to show you one more thing real quick, is I've already started this. I just wanted to kind of get this going so we didn't have to go through all these tasks and you could see how terrible I was at completing SAM exams, right? So this should only have a couple of tasks left on it. Okay, I'm going to go full view so you can see it better. So I've already gone through and completed some, missed some, that type of thing. So on this particular one, I need to display the word count, go through and include words, text in the text box, endnotes, etc. And the task is complete. Okay, so now I've completed that entire path. I just didn't want to sit here and do all the tasks for you. I can just say okay, or I can go through and I can view my report. And just like any student does when they view, oops, sorry about that, when they view their report, try that again. Okay, view report, pull this over. And the student can view their report. So they can go through, and if they want to do an individual training on this, they can do that before they actually launch into the training. But remember, they're only going to get training on the ones that they missed. So I'm going to close this report, and you can see now how this automatically switched, and now the training is available for the student. And so you would go through and actually complete the training, and then the post-exam would come available, okay? So that's kind of how you see it and how they traverse through going, seeing their exams, their training, and their post-exam. Now, of course, if this was set up as a training and exam only, that would be all they would see as well. And excuse me, after they do the training and the exam, then it'll go through as submitted. And on your side, as an instructor, it'll go through as being completed. Now, I'll log out of here and log back in as an instructor. And when I go into my assignments for my students, I'm going to go ahead and just take a look here. I only have the one student in there, but you can see here how he's completed the pre-exam, and I can see his score already. Okay, now he hasn't done the post-exam or the training, but so far I can see what he's done just by taking a quick look. Okay, so it's very easy to go in, take a look at the different paths, take a look at the different scores, and see how the students are actually performing constantly on an ongoing basis. So we've set up our SAM path. We've traversed through it as a student so that you can see what the student sees on their side. Now to kind of just wrap it up, these are different things that maybe when you're talking with your colleagues about SAM paths, you can share them, share with them some of the takeaways from this webinar. Explain that these will assist the instructor and know what the student does and doesn't know about a topic or a concept, or maybe even an application in general. The SAM paths create that individualized learning path for every SAM path that is administered. It gives that student the immediate feedback that they will need to review or to further master that concept. And that's so important for the students to be able to get that reinforcement that they need and actually get it through the engagement of working within the task of the application that they're working with. So I've kind of completed my circle here on SAM paths and how to set one up and traversing through them as a student. But please feel free to give me a call or contact me at rachelle.hall@gccaz.edu at any time. And thank you for taking the time to visit with me today. If you have any questions, please contact me. And thank you and enjoy your day.